I want to talk to you about free speech tonight. You know, our Your Right to Know campaign that's pretty strong at the moment, where a lot of media, including News Corp, are complaining about clamping down on censorship and government regulation and government interference. This is the stuff the leftist media pretend to care about when it suits them. They're excited at the moment because the ABC headquarters got a visit from the AFP earlier this year, but they were, of course, acquiescent when Labor and the Greens, as a government, wanted to impose de facto regulation on the print media about 6 years ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to the extraordinary revelations this weekend about how the Canberra bureaucracy has used foreign interference laws to try to clamp down and intimidate Conservatives. They should be outraged, but they'll try to ignore this, I suppose, in the leftist media. We won't here. We are consistent on free speech. Now, Rowan, Rita and James looked at this earlier on Outsiders. The revelation came via Janet Albrechtsen in the Weekend Australian, and it details the very first time the Attorney-General's Department has put pressure on any person or organisation under the new laws designed to stamp out sinister foreign interference in our democracy. So who did they target? They targeted former Prime Minister Tony Abbott and the organisers of a very prominent and very public conference held to discuss conservative political ideas. Can you believe that laws passed to try to prevent insidious corruption in our politics, you know, secretive communist nations trying to do us harm, or subversive nations looking to foment Islamist extremism or inflict economic damage on us? Yes, the first time these laws were used, it was to try to get information about a public forum discussing conservative beliefs, like, for instance, freedom of expression. And it did the same to a range of the speakers, including, can you believe, someone who's so committed to this country that he was elected Prime Minister. This shows you how the insanity of the Green left has completely taken over parts of our bureaucracy. From Outsiders this morning, here's Andrew Cooper, who organised the Conservative conference in August and received demands from the Attorney-General's Department.
The concerning thing for me is that everyone I talk to says this is absurd, right? But the legislation is there. The bureaucrats have the power to do this. They've asked me to comply. They've threatened me with jail if I do not comply. I've sent them a letter on Friday saying I am unable and also unwilling to comply. So now I wait, right? I'm in their hands. You're right, it's insidious deep state stuff, and the political class have no control over it anymore. It's up to the bureaucrats.
This is deeply worrying. This really should set off a lot of alarm bells. The laws are probably fine. They just assume that public servants are sensible and have some grasp of our nation's values, you know, like favouring free speech, fairness, open political debate and all the rest of it. The problem here is a political media class so divorced from the values that have made this country great that they don't even understand how they can be working against it. They dare to question whether former Prime Minister Tony Abbott is on Australia's side because he wants to discuss conservative ideas at a public event with like-minded people from this and other countries. How do you fix this level of stupidity, this dangerous overreach? Aren't we entitled to expect a public service that's on Australia's side?